Hi, I'm Khal. I own and operate KR Sabers here in Surrey. I make custom LED sabers. We don't call them lightsabers usually because it's more of a specialist term, more related to Star Wars. We make them by ourselves. We will collaborate with people around the world and we create these pretty cool glorified flashlights really. So they're just really cool torches. I used to collect the toy lightsabers, the sabers that you would buy from places like Toys R Us or buying from Hasbro and Master Replicas. And I think the first one I got was when I was 11 years old and it was Darth Vader's lightsaber. So I was so excited to get it because I first saw Star Wars when I was 6 years old. So it was 1999, episode 1, The Phantom Menace came out, and straight away I was just like obsessed with it. You know, seeing the characters, the way it was shot, the fight scenes. And then my favourite character was Qui-Gon Jinn, who was played by Liam Neeson. You know, when he was killed at the end of it, I was just like devastated. So this is an example of heavily inspired Qui-Gon Jinn lightsaber. You can see here, it's all precision machined. It can accept all forms of electronics, so the battery will sit up here, LED there, speaker there, and we made sure that we captured those really deep grooves that are inside the lightsaber, which has always been difficult in the past because this area you can't really put any electronics in. But as the technology advanced and things became smaller, more compact, we can design them to accept batteries and LEDs and switches. And then you can have the wires run hidden under here and then access the bottom for your speaker and recharge port. Lightsabers and Star Wars always was part of like my childhood growing up. I was always interested in it. Obviously when I was like 16, 17, didn't think much about Star Wars anymore. Some of the lightsabers that I put online to sell, a gentleman came and said, you know, I want to buy them. He came, picked them up, and he asked me if I had another character's lightsaber, but I wasn't aware that that even existed. And he said to me, oh, I've seen one on YouTube, and he showed me the video, and it turned out that this was a guy who had made one himself. So straight away I was intrigued, and that's when I sort of discovered that there's a community of people around the world who have sort of taken building lightsabers into their own hands. And after some time of reading through the forum, asking loads of questions, talking to different people, getting inspiration from various different members, I decided to try and build my first one. So buying parts from companies in the UK, companies in the US, gathering them all. And I said to my dad, who's an engineer anyway, he's a construction engineer, you know, should we try and build this together? And we did. We built it together. KR Sabers, the KR aspect of it. My name's Khal. My dad's name's Riza. He's Iranian. And that was sort of where I came up with the name. We made like a chassis to hold the battery and the speaker. And we soldered it with his soldering iron that he had just on our kitchen table. Finished it up. And from then, it went from, you know, saving up a bit of money to buy a lathe, a mini lathe, which is a turning machine for machining round stock or like round aluminium brass materials. I had tools everywhere. There was boxes everywhere. I'd pretty much taken over the whole of the downstairs of my house. And then eventually it got to a point where I asked my dad if he would let me build a workshop. So I think in 2016, we decided to get rid of our old shed that we had in our garden. And we built this sort of 30 square meter workshop that consisted of an area to pack and ship orders, an area for research and development, testing, 3D printing, metal finishing, metal working, and also a powder coating room for painting lightsabers, and just an area where it could be sealed off for painting because you don't want to breathe in any fumes when you're doing these things. And that's where I've been now. I also have a warehouse because when I make things now for my store that sells components like LEDs, speakers, I can't just make 10 or 20 of them, I have to make thousands of them. So that's what the Saber Armory is. It's my parts store, which is my day-to-day business now. But very rarely these days I have time to actually build the sabers. And a lot of time is spent prototyping, design, engineering. So I've got my design computer in my office where I'll sit and I'll design different products. For example, this one is inspired by the new game that came out, Jedi Fallen Order. And this prototype was sent to me by another lightsaber manufacturer who asked me to put some electronics in it for him. I had to design a 3D printed chassis, so this chassis has been 3D printed and it accommodates the electronics. So most lightsabers, they'll consist of a battery, whether it will be a removable battery or a rechargeable battery pack. It will have a soundboard, so this is the brains of the saber really. This will power the LEDs, play the sounds through the speaker. You've got switches here that I've added which power and do auxiliary effects. And then there's also some cool technology where without the blade inside, it will light up. These are some special PCBs. You don't have to have any wires for your speaker. It can just be connected and removed at any time. So I designed it so the speaker can sit inside here. And when you screw it on, it makes that connection, so I can turn the lightsaber on. There won't be any sound, but as I twist the speaker, you can hear those sounds play now. So you've got different effects. And you've got the motion. So this is what they're like. And then you can put a blade inside and it will power the lightsaber on. So you've got, and then a lot of them now have color changing capabilities. So you can purple, different shades of purple, white, red. So you can choose any color you want, and when you're happy with the color you've got, you can lock that color in, and now you've got that color. And you've got these different effects, so you can have lock-up effects, different things like that. So the area, as if a lightsaber blade is touching it, you can see here. And you've got the power down. And they have different sound fonts now, because the technology is so advanced, you can put all different types of sounds.
Come get it.
Different quotes from the films.
I'm never touching that thing again.
Most of them are about sort of 11 to 13 inches long, depending on what your design is. They metal, feel really strong and high quality when you hold it in your hand. So yeah, that's what one of these are like.